Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel where we are focusing on destigmatizing divorce and giving you insights on ways to help you through life's tough situations, including divorce. Today we are talking about a topic that many people care about, that is near and dear to my heart as well, pet custody. What happens to your pets in a divorce? We all know that pets are not just animals, they're our family. These are our cats, our dogs, our birds, our hamsters, our fish. No matter what, we consider our fur babies to be part of our family. Not just for our children, but for ourselves. Our pets should be included in our divorce discussions and not just at the end. We should be thinking about what's in their best interests from the very beginning. But what happens when you're getting divorced and pets are put in the middle? Who's going to pay for their vet bills? Who's going to get custody of them? Where are they going to live? Are you going to be able to make sure that the children are able to see them? How are you going to navigate any health challenges that the animals have in the future? How are you going to handle the finances? There's so many things that you need to think about when it comes to your pets and getting divorced or separated. But trust me, it does not have to be a battle. You can start thinking about these things at the beginning and start working with your soon-to-be ex to make sure that your pets are very, very well taken care of. So why does this matter? It matters because pets are so often overlooked when it comes to divorce proceedings. People are focusing on the big things: the house, the retirement assets, custody of the children, all very important things. However, when we get to the end, sometimes that's where the battles actually start to get a little bit more heated when people start talking about their pets. Why didn't we consider this from the beginning? Of course I'm getting the house, so of course I would get the pets. Well, your soon-to-be ex didn't think that, and they thought, well, you're getting the house. The least I can do is get the pet. So you want to make sure that you're having these discussions from the beginning. Whether you have an attorney who's discussing this with you, or whether you and your spouse are just sitting across the table from each other trying to work this out. Consider where the pets are going to be living, and consider how it is that you're going to be taking care of these pets going forward. And it matters because you want to make sure that the pet's emotional and physical needs are being met. You want to make sure that especially children, but other family members as well, might be able to see the pet, maybe some sort of custody arrangement, and you certainly want to make sure that their vet bills are going to be paid. Another reason why it's really important to start discussing where it is that your pets are going to fit into this new lifestyle is because generally across the states, pets are considered property. So it's just like dividing up the living room, the dining room, the kitchen, dividing up all of the things that you have in there. How are we going to divide up the pets? You have two pets, you get one and I get one. Well, we all know that that's not necessarily what's best for your pet. What we want to do is start including them from the beginning and not just think of them as property. As a matter of fact, in New York, there is a best interest standard that is used. So animals are not just considered property, mostly pets. We're not talking about livestock or farm animals, but your pets, the courts can consider the best interests of your pets. If the two of you cannot figure out and come to an agreement as to what is in the best interest of your pet, you know who's going to decide that? The judge. What is the best interest standard for the pet? When it comes to determining best interests, judges have a lot of discretion as to what that means. What will they consider? Maybe things like who has spent more time with the pet, who has trained the pet, maybe somebody who works 80 hours a week doesn't get to spend time with the pet, but the other person does. They consider a lot of things like that, especially who has the ability to provide the physical and emotional needs for the pet. But is that something that you want to litigate and spend tens of thousands of dollars to try to prove to the court that you're the one who's been caring for the pet? No, you don't want to have to do that. So let's try to think of a way that the both of you can come together and start thinking of the best interests of your pets and the best interests of your family so the pets can still be bonded to you. Including pets in divorce or separation agreements is becoming much more common because in the past, when people have considered everything else, like I said, custody of the children, the house, the retirement accounts, all of the big ticket items, and they haven't considered the pets, it has caused significant fights after the divorce is over. So it's much more common now to ensure that your cats and your dogs and your beloved fur babies are in the agreement and that the both of you have a full understanding of how you're going to care for them going forward. And now if the two of you are sitting down at the table and you're trying to work out what's going to happen to the cat or the dog and you're really sort of butting heads and you're not really sure where to go, please consider going to divorce mediation. Please consider choosing a collaborative team who can help you resolve that issue. Do not run to court to try to figure out what's going to happen to your cat or your dog. Not only do the courts have very, very full calendars, so you coming with this one issue, and I'm not saying it would just be this one issue, but if this really is the main issue, the courts are going to really go through this very quickly, and they're going to say, you decide what happens to the dogs. I'm not going to make that decision. You decide what's best for your cats. I'm not going to make that decision. And if you leave it in my hands, I might just split it up and I might say it's better for the one cat to go here, the one dog to go there, or any other scenario. But if you can't sit down and come to an agreement, like I said before, maybe there are ways that you can start working on temporary agreements for now. If it's temporary and it doesn't work, you can always revisit it if you're in mediation, if you're in the collaborative model. Don't run to court, because once a judge makes that decision, it might not be what you want to hear, and it might not necessarily be what's in the best interest of your pet, because the judge doesn't know your pet. So make sure that you're considering using these out-of-court options when it comes to protecting your cat or your dog. So aside from custody and visitation, another big one is expenses. Vet bills or boarding costs or grooming costs, they add up very, very quickly for pets. Just like any of us, animals have ongoing needs. They have ongoing expenses that come with these needs. Going to the vet regularly, going to the vet when they're sick, getting medication, when you're going away or you're going to work, them getting boarded and having care for them. The pets possibly needing special grooming. All of this costs money and it takes time. Who's going to be paying for it and who's going to be doing it? So if you have a shared custody where you have the dog 1 week, your spouse has the dog another week, does that mean that I'm going to continue to schedule the grooming every single time on my time and I'm going to pay for it? Or does it mean I'm going to do it once a month, you're going to do it the other month? However it is that the both of you want to work it out, make sure that you do work that out and you have it on paper so the both of you are sharing in it as equally as possible, or any way that you think is best. If you're not getting divorced but you're thinking about getting married, know that you can include your cats and your dogs in your prenuptial agreements as well. And as a prenuptial agreement can protect you before you're married, after you're married you can have the same thing. It's just called a postnuptial agreement, something that you enter into even though you're already married and you're not necessarily getting divorced, but just in case, you have an agreement here that's going to outline how you're going to divide everything, and you can include your pets in that. So very briefly, a prenuptial agreement before you're married can outline the care, the custody, and the financial responsibilities of your pets, and you would do this before you're married. And a postnuptial agreement will do the same thing, but you would enter into that after you're married. And if you include your pets in these agreements, just know that if there's ever a time that you get divorced or separated, this can clarify so much and it can really provide you with so much peace of mind. And know that this is one thing that you don't have to think about if the time comes that you get divorced or separated. These agreements can clarify who's going to care for the pets, who's going to pay for the pets, and maybe in emergency situations, who's going to take care of the pets. These agreements can really offer so much peace of mind. Bubba. Now let's talk about how you can resolve any sort of pet custody dispute that you're having in the mediation room. Mediation can really help the both of you clarify what it is that you really want, what it is that's going to be in the best interest of your pets if you get divorced or separated. You're going to be able to have your voice heard. Your concerns are going to be laid out. All of the finances are going to be parsed through. It's not going to be a quick decision by a judge. It's going to be a thoughtful discussion that you can have with a trained mediator who can help you both figure out what's best for the both of you and figure out what's best for your fur baby. With a mediator, you're going to create a personalized plan for your family, for your pet. You're going to save a tremendous amount of time, money, and emotional resources as opposed to running to court and asking a judge who does not know your pets, does not know your family, to make a decision. So whether you're just thinking about getting married and you want to include your pets in a prenuptial agreement, whether you are already married and you want to consider entering into a postnuptial agreement, or you know that divorce is the way that you want to move forward and you want to use a divorce mediator, make sure that you are putting as much care and attention into the other big ticket items when it comes to these things. Make sure that you're putting as much care into your pets, the needs of your pets, the future of your pets, because again, they are family. Before you leave, don't forget to subscribe, like, and please leave us a comment and tell us your favorite thing about your pet. And if you're considering getting divorced or separated, or if you're thinking about getting married, please reach out to a family law attorney in your area. We are located in New York, and speak to them about ways that you can protect your furry family members the right way. Remember, divorce doesn't just affect humans, it affects our fur babies too.